thing. Now there's art, there's environment, which is huge, and you've been a huge advocate of the dolphins, the blind dolphins of the Indus, which are very rare, and you've talked about the rivers as well, right? Now tell us about that. Now where, and you're talking about the water. Or is it living in a city which has no water?
Yeah.
Or maybe does have water, but we just don't get it.
So that's actually an interesting, that's a very interesting point you've brought up. That's
Yeah.
true what you said. It has water, but we don't get
We
it.
don't- really?
And
Okay.
and I can talk more about that, but I'll first address the what you mentioned about the dolphins. So I first volunteered for the Sindh Wildlife Department when I was 14 years old,
Wow.
and I went on a dolphin rescue for the first time when I was 15. And it was an incredible experience. So the reason why we have rescues for dolphins is because they end up stranded in the canals. So,
Okay.
in Sindh, from the River Indus, there are 7 major canals that come out of Sakhar Barrage and thousands of smaller, minor branches of those canals.
For irrigation.
For irrigation.
Right.
And they can stretch several hundred kilometers away from the river, meaning a dolphin can end up several hundred kilometers away from
Wow.
the river. So in the winter, these canals dry. So dolphins have to be saved, and the Sindh Wildlife Department does rescue missions
Okay.
yearly. So I had the opportunity to be invited on one by Hussain Baksh Bhagat, who was the deputy conservator of the Sindh Wildlife Department. He passed away in 2013, tragically, of cancer. But his impact, his brief tutoring of me in the world of environment left a deep impact. And this animal, the Indus River dolphin, is an animal endemic only to Pakistan.
Yes.
And we have no pride in it.
It's not our national. Mahor is the national.
Yes, is our Qawmi-
Yeah,
is
which
our
is
Qawmi
was
thing.
also endangered. I mean, they pay a lot of money to kill it now. $80,000.
Yes.
$100,000.
It's kind of it's absurd, but to me it makes sense why the markhor is our national animal, and I say that because Pakistan's a very patriarchal country. It's a very masculine
They
country.
love hunting the
So the markhor is this tall, elegant animal sitting on a mountain with big horns.
big horns.
It
It's the
screams.
horns.
It screams masculine. It's the horns.
It's the
yes.
horns.
It screams masculinity.
Yeah.
Whereas the Indus River dolphin is a quiet, shy, sleek, very effeminate.
Yeah.
Even the word bulhan, which is the word for the dolphin in Sindhi, is a feminine word.
Right. Okay.
And in Saraiki also it's a feminine word. It's a very effeminate animal. It's very shy. It's very elusive.
How many do we have?
We're doing better than we used to.
5,000. I read something.
No, not
Then?
that many. 2,000.
Really?
Yes.
That's it.
Specifically 1,987
It's terrible.
as of 2017. But when they did the first census, granted they didn't have the same tools at their disposal that they did in other censuses, but the first census in 1974 that was taken by Sindh Wildlife Department the figure was more like 174 individuals.
Okay, that's like a completely endangered species then.
It's on the red list. Yeah, it's on the IUCN red list.
It is.
And the thing with the Indus River dolphin is, yes, we've gone from 174 individuals in 1974 to now 2,000, almost 2,000 individuals across Pakistan.
You can't breed them anywhere.
No.
Is it also because the salt water meets the river? Why they're blind?
So they're not at the delta. They're in the fresh water. They don't go to the salt
They
water.
don't go to the salt water.
And they're mostly present from their main. So they're divided into 5 different populations,
Okay.
and each population is divided by a barrage.
Right.
So you have a population. You have 3 distinct populations in Punjab. One is between Jinnah and Chashma, but sometimes they count 2, sometimes they count 0, depends on the year of the survey. And then you have another small population between Chashma and Tonsa.
Are they tagged?
No, they're not tagged. I've actually been on a survey.
Right.
I traveled without a motor
Okay.
from Chashma Barrage all the way to Ghazi Ghat, which is about 60 kilometers south of Tonsa, Kot Addu. We lived on the River Indus for 2 weeks. I lived on islands in the River Indus,
Oh, nice.
brushed my teeth from the River Indus, ate from the River Indus, washed my plate in the River Indus, camped on the islands. I remember going to sleep, my body would automatically sway because we were on boats for the whole day. For I think a good month, I fell asleep like this.
How nice.
And, we would hear jackals howling in the middle of the night across the river. We would go to these different islands that were covered in ladybugs, which is a sign of a healthy environment.
It's beautiful.
It's stunning.
Like listening to you.
Oh,
it's passionate and it just sounds romantic almost.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to describe it because for me, the Indus is magic. It is romance. It is magic. It's everything. And if you only have to step your feet in the mud of the Indus to really feel what she is and what she means. And not enough people in our country have done that. There is such a disconnect between especially urban people and their river. They don't understand it. They don't understand. They understand it in what the geography textbook says. There's water in the river, take the water out, put it in the fields. That's all they understand.
I don't look at it.
Maybe you don't.
Because I've been everywhere.
You've been everywhere.
I've muddied in
You have appreciation. Yes, I'm not talking about you. I'm sure you have an appreciation for the mud and the soil of the Indus and the water of the Indus and the creatures of the Indus. But so many people, not as a way to demonize them. I'm not saying it that they're bad, but I think it's just we as a country have not, like you said, so many of our kids are just going to school, sitting hunched over desks like this, reading until they can't think of anything else, going to sleep and then repeating that process.
They do take them to see the babies hatch on the.
Now they do. If you go to a private school, if you go to private school, that's the least they can do. But they do that once, right? When you're really young.
Right.
But they don't, like even the syllabus doesn't say go take them to Turtle Beach, right? The syllabus is our geography syllabus, our national attitude to the environment is exploitative.